Good evening, everybody. Today is April 12th, and the time is 8 p.m. And I'm Enid Lapellis. Agenda: this meeting will be conducted as a hybrid meeting as follows. Town council members, designated staff, invited presenters, and members of the press may attend in person or remotely. Public access to this meeting will be limited to joining the meeting as follows. 1, a limited number of in-person public attendees will be permitted based upon the reduced capacity of the meeting room pursuant to the governor's executive orders. Any member of the public wishing to attend in person must email meetings@monroect.org at least 24 hours in advance. You will be notified as to whether or not space is available. Members of the public may attend remotely as follows: by computer, tablet, or smartphone, or via phone. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please allow me to confirm the presence of those town council members and any other staff or anticipated participants present. Dee Martin?
Dee Martin's here.
Jen Aguilar?
Jen Aguilar, present.
Jason Mauer?
Jason Mauer, present.
Terry Rooney?
Terry Rooney here.
John Formicella?
John Formicella here.
Tony Scott?
Tony Scott is here.
Sean O'Rourke?
Sean O'Rourke present.
Kevin Reed?
Kevin Reed present.
And myself, Enid Lapellis. So we have all 9 members present. Okay, consent calendar. Anything about the consent calendar? Are there any objections? Yes.
What is item 3 on the agenda? We have a number 3 on the agenda.
Yeah, that'll be next.
Number 3 is before number 4. The Center for Family Justice presentation should be next.
Okay, we can do that next, certainly. So, Mr. Kellogg?
Thank you, Madam.
Doing Center for Family Justice presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So before we get into the regular business this evening, I wanted to, it's really my honor, my privilege to introduce Kathy Maiello, who I believe is on remotely. Kathy, we can't see you, but hopefully you're there.
I am here.
Okay.
Can you see me now?
Yes, great. So Kathy is Kathy's the chairperson of the Center for Family Justice. I think as everyone is aware, but just to kind of recap, they do a tremendous amount of work throughout our region, and Monroe is part of their service area. And there's just a wide palette of services that they provide to victims of domestic violence and sexual assault and abuse. And I'm just so happy that they're part of the fabric of our community and the help that they give. And they just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about some of the things that are going on, and happy to be able to introduce them this evening. So Kathy, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much. And I want to thank the council for allowing us to come and meet with you and present. Monroe has been a long and dedicated partner of CFJ. We have such great support here in town. For those who may not know, we serve 6 towns, as Ken mentioned: Monroe, Bridgeport, Trumbull, Stratford, Fairfield, and Easton. And the Center for Family Justice provides free and confidential services to victims of domestic violence, sexual violence, and child abuse. And we are one of 18 member agencies in Connecticut. One of the things that is very key to what we do is we provide prevention education at all levels. And this is designed to help break the cycle of violence by building healthy relationships and empowering communities and mobilizing bystanders to really speak out about abuse. Highlighting awareness of abuse is our single most effective tool at stopping abuse. Last year, we provided services to over 7,000 people in our service area. And as you can imagine, with last year and the pandemic, all of us on lockdown, it made for a very difficult year. for a lot of our clients and victims. In 2020, we provided crisis services for over 400 adults impacted by sexual violence. And we worked with over 200 children impacted by extreme abuse, often of a sexual nature. And 10 of those children were from Monroe. It is estimated that every 43 seconds, someone is sexually abused and assaulted in this country. And every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. So one of the first things that we always talk about is what can we do, especially as a board member, what can we do to help? And first and foremost is we want to be ambassadors for CFJ in our own communities and wider. And how we do that is we talk about the services that we have, but more importantly, we call out behaviors that demean women and girls. Being a bystander sometimes is uncomfortable, but that awareness and that support is really one of the first things that we can do to help stop this cycle. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Child Abuse Awareness Month. One of the things that we can do is wear teal in support of a sexual assault survivor. You can take a picture of yourself wearing teal, post it on social media with a message of support and hope. Also, same with child abuse. You may see around town pinwheels, blue pinwheels. The blue pinwheel is a national symbol of child abuse prevention. The other thing is what we are doing at CFJ in April is we're doing Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. I know that Ken has been a part of it. Jason has been a part of it. Awesome, thank you. We're unfortunately doing it virtually this year, but you can take a video of yourself, post it on social media, send it to us. We would be happy to post it on our social media. I actually have a team. If you want to go to CFJ's website, you can join my team. That's actually in your flyer. There's some details about how you could participate in your flyer. And also in your packet, again, I said awareness. There's a flyer in there that you can print and pull off. And you know, if we put those in public bathrooms, you know, sometimes that is only the only place that someone could be alone and safe enough to get some information to reach out for our services. So awareness is the name of the game, and you know, this month we're really focusing on sexual assault awareness and child abuse. So I'm happy to take any questions about the center, or if I can answer anything, or if anyone's interested in doing anything with the center, I am always available by phone. I can come down to town hall. We can socially distance. I can talk a little bit more about it. But I so appreciate you giving me this time to talk. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing I want to add. We're building a new safe house. So we've had the same safe house for the last 22 years. We are finding that it's not enough. So we have purchased a new home in an undisclosed area, and we are renovating it currently. And just to give you a little statistics, last year, we had an increase of 1,331% bed nights. We have had clients having to stay in a not safe space because we don't have space in our safe house. And we're not the only one who had this problem. We had last year a 26% increase in domestic advocacy clients because of the pandemic. You know, we've had a 51% increase in the emergency shelter nights and 196% increase in restraining orders. So thank you for letting me share this information and highlighting the great work that CFJ does. But and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Madam Chair, before we move on,
Yeah.
first off, thank you, Kathy, so much for coming and talking to us. I did want to just extend an invite to all of my fellow council members, to the first selectman, to any other committee persons and anybody else. If you do want to, I am going to be doing the walk a mile. If you want to heal up and mask up and do the walk with me, I'm happy to set up a time for us to be able to do it together. Just showing some unity and some in joining together to be able to support such a wonderful cause. So if anybody does want to, please just feel free to reach out, and we can set up a time to get out either on the track or on the roads or somewhere, and
We could even do it around the green.
or do it around the green, and we can walk a mile and make sure you find your heels. I'll have to dig mine out from the last time.
Jason, thank you. That's wonderful.
Madam
Yes,
Chair,
go
may
ahead.
I ask a question?
Yes, and then Mr. Scott. Go ahead first, Mrs. Aguilar.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
How are the numbers looking this year? Like since we're a few weeks into last year pandemic time, is it looking any better? Can you see, or do you not know? Can you not get a read on that yet?
I don't have actual numbers, but I will tell you that we have had increases across the board. As you know, we had to shut down just like every other business had to shut down, and we went remotely. Luckily, we were able to pivot to remote services for our clients who normally would come to the center. We were able to pivot almost immediately for Zoom support. So we were able to continue to do that. But that only was an option for those clients who could do that while in their home. A lot of times clients, the abuser was in lockdown with them. The children were home, being homeschooled, so there wasn't always an opportunity or a space to go and have those support online, either by phone or by Zoom. The numbers are steadily growing. Because of the pandemic, you know, we had a quiet time where our numbers were down, but that was because no one was reporting, because everyone was in shock about what was happening with COVID. And then as the summer progressed and we opened our doors again, our numbers just skyrocketed. So they have been increasing steadily.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for everything you do and for the presentation.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Scott?
Yeah, thank you, Kathy, so much. Quick question is the website centerforfamilyjustice.org where you can go if you want to find more information and potentially donate to help the cause? Is that where you can
Yes.
go to? Great,
Yes.
okay.
And that will take you to Walk a Mile, Empower House, any other initiatives that we have. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you, Kathy. And Jason, I'll call you and walk with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eden. That's wonderful. Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
Okay,
Kathy.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
Kathy.
Bye-bye.
going on to the consent calendar. Are there any objections to me passing the consent calendar as presented?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Jason Maurer, I'd ask that item F be removed from the consent calendar and added to new business. I don't expect it to be any kind of controversial matter or anything of those sorts. I just don't believe it is the type of item that would belong on the consent calendar. It should be quite properly presented by the first selectman. And I don't expect any public comment, but if there were any public comment during initial public participation, a chance for the public to comment on it before the council acts on it.
So item F to you is a resolution 39 and 40, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we have to, first I need well, Jason gave me the motion to amend the agenda. Do I have a second? To amend the second. Mrs. Martin seconds it. Discussion? You just mentioned things, Jason. Is that good enough for the discussion?
That's fine for me. I also, and I ask our parliamentarian, if I'm correct, can the chair, by her prerogative, remove something from the consent calendar and add it onto new business without motion?
That's correct, Mr. Maurer.
Okay, that's correct. So now we have to have discussion. We have to vote on the,
So there's no need for a vote, Madam Chair. You can do it on your own prerogative.
okay, so we're going to just add that on to item F. And so Okay, so.
Becomes item D under new business.
All right, thank you. Okay, D is item F. Okay, so I don't need any motion, I can just go on. My prerogative? Okay, so that was the consent calendar. So any other objections to the consent calendar being passed by me? So I hereby pass the consent calendar as presented. The communications, I hereby ask that communication items A through J be referenced in the minutes of the meeting. I'm going on to public participation. Participation? Seeing none, hearing none. Mr. Kellogg, nobody? So public rotation, nobody. Going on to action items. So action items, D, this is going to be D. Okay, so action items. A, Town Council Committee on Finance, Education, Health, and Public Safety Matters, none. Mrs. Martin, Town Council Committee on Planning and Zoning, Works and Park and Recreation Matters. Anything for Park and Rec?
No, I don't think there's anything new from Park and Rec. They're taking picnic reservations now. They're already getting some camping reservations. They have some campers for mid-April, which is unusual. And they're discussing their COVID-related pool hours that they'll maybe making some adjustments to, and hoping there'll be some lessening of the regulations. But
Any other questions for Mrs. Martin? No. Going on to Town Council Committee on Legislative and Administrative Matters, Mr. Reed?
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. We did meet tonight before council. We discussed 5 items of new business: Emergency Food and Shelter National Board Program, the Last Mile Racing, a contract for that LLC, new banking accounts that the first selectman will walk us through, job description for chief sanitarian, an invoice cloud, a bill order form for that. So all of them passed with 3-0 motions to come to council. So we will, I'm sure, have lively discussion for all 5.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Reed? Seeing none, going on to First Selectman's update, Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you. So just a quick update on our COVID numbers. Our 2-week rolling case rate seems pretty stable at this point, although it is still at just almost 6 new cases per day, which is certainly higher than we want, but it is better than, there have been some other communities that have been hit harder in the last week or two. So hopefully we'll continue to be stable. The state, as of today, still seems to be stabilizing in terms of the positivity rate. So we'll keep our keep our hopes up that we're heading in the right direction. We have almost half of Monroe's population, 47%, has now received at least 1 vaccination, which is great. It's a little bit higher than the statewide average. We continue to run our clinics weekly. We are currently we're still offering in our major clinics the Moderna vaccine. There's been a reduction in Johnson & Johnson vaccine available this week statewide. I'm sure everyone is aware of that. There's been a lot of coverage on that. But we do expect vaccine offerings and supplies to continue to expand in the coming weeks in terms of both doses available and providers. And I know as recently as this afternoon, there were appointments available at a variety of locations in our area. We continue to post our new appointments for those in VAMS every Thursday morning. And we continue to have our weekly standby list go up on Monday mornings as well. And working with the Memorial Day Parade Committee, we will be having a parade this year on Sunday, May 30th. They will be working on getting more information out to participants, and we'll get more information on the community in terms of how it will work this year. But I'm really glad that we'll be able to honor Memorial Day as it should be with our parade this year. And then the other update is related to inquiry from the last meeting regarding Parks and Rec projects. So I've given you here in the update a kind of like a 5-year history look back in capital projects in Parks and Rec and the status of each. So that is available in response to the question, and that is my update for this evening.
Okay,
All I have is 37 and 28. I don't have 30.
okay. So going on to is new business. So first thing is 41, which says, I have it, I have them all here, I think you can find them. Next is 41, which is 21-41, to consider and act upon a resolution regarding the job description for chief sanitarian. Mr. O'Rourke?
I move for the adoption of the following resolution. Resolution number 21-41, resolved that the proposed job description for chief sanitarian is hereby approved and replaces the former sanitarian job description.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Callan Formicella, second.
Okay, discussion, Mr. Kellogg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as I've kind of outlined in the cover memo, when the former Trumbull Monroe Health District was dissolved back in 2015, subsequent to Trumbull leaving the district, a lot of positions had to be kind of brought back to Monroe. And one of those positions was a sanitarian, a registered sanitarian position. That position here has always been somewhat of a more senior role, and it was often referred to as chief sanitarian, even in historical budget documents. But the job description that was filled at the time, that was approved at the time, was that of sanitarian. In reflecting the current role, we want to revise this to reflect the title of chief sanitarian. In the industry, so to speak, that is a common title for the more senior position, one of more experience and more responsibility. This position, I would argue, always functioned in this realm. It was always reflected in that manner. There is one more substantive revision, though, that I wanted to discuss, and that was related to the ability to receive authority from the state health department to act in terms of being able to sign orders pursuant to public health regulations and statutory authorities that the director of health has. And it's a very specific process and something that happens in local public health where all directors of health always have to be and have to register their availability with the state. And when they're not going to be available, for example, for let's say an extended vacation, where they would be unable to issue an order, a public health order when required, there has to be another authorized individual authorized by the state health department to act as an acting health director. It is very common for departments to rely on mutual aid, and health directors will cover one another. And we've done that many times and reciprocated many times. But there's also departments that employ an in-house backup. So we'd like to have the ability to have both options available. And we have an individual that the current individual that we employ has the requisite educational background and experience to receive that authority from the state health department. So along with the title change to chief sanitarian, we are including the requirement for the Masters of Public Health and the ability to assume the director of health, acting director of health, role as approved by the state of Connecticut in the absence of the health director. There's some other housekeeping language changes as well that our health director and our HR director have gone through in terms of just cleaning up some language and making it more current. So with that, any questions? Or Greg Hirsch is here, and I believe Director of Health Nancy Brault is on remotely if there's any questions. Otherwise, we'd like to move forward. Thank you.
Okay, well, I need a second to this motion first. Do I hear a second for this motion?
I believe I seconded it, but
Okay,
Here's the discussion.
we just did discussion. Any
You're in
questions?
yeah.
Mrs. Martin?
I have two questions. Well,
Sure. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Thank you for the red line version, which
You're
makes
welcome.
it so much easier to, rather
I know.
than trying to determine. One of the things that says is assuming the role of acting director of health in the absence of the director of health.
Right.
The educational and experience qualifications similar for the two positions?
Yeah, so in order to get the approval from the state public health commissioner, there's a couple of different paths. One is physicians with certain amount of public health education, but the other one is a master's in public health. But the state health department goes through a whole vetting process to make sure that they have to submit all their educational background and their experience. And so, yeah, so this has been reflected to update that Masters of Public Health requirement, and then it will all be contingent upon approval from the state health department.
That was my questions.
Yes, the state, we would have to go through the process. He would have to submit all that, and the commissioner would formally send an approval that this individual is now authorized to act as a acting director of health.
Okay. So then we're approving it pending approval from the state?
I'm sorry?
Are we approving the job description pending approval from the state?
I would say we're approving it with the understanding that the individual will need to get authorization from the state. Yes.
Okay. And you will advise us when that happens?
I certainly could. Yep. Yep.
Okay, any other questions?
I don't anticipate, I mean, this is a pretty common practice, and I don't anticipate there's going to be any concern for that.
Great.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Kellogg?
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
more of a comment. I have appreciated seeing as time goes and as we find the opportunities to update job descriptions and bring them more current and update duties and responsibilities to be more in line with what they actually are. So I just want to give my encouragement to continue that process as we identify those opportunities to update our job descriptions as such. I think this, again, is a very good update, one that really does set forward a standard of what Monroe is looking for from its representatives and for its officials. And so I just want to say keep that ball rolling.
Thank you, Mr. Maurer. I appreciate that and agree that. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Hirsch, who's in the back, can attest that is a effort that he's already been somewhat, assigned, directed. We've been having some initial discussions. Obviously, we want to prioritize ones that have more of an immediate need. But on Craig's list of projects is to kind of go through all of them and let's over time refresh all of them as necessary.
That's great to hear. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's vote on this motion. All in favor of Resolution 41?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any negatives? Any nays? I just can't see. Okay, this motion passes 9-0. B, 21-42, to consider and act upon a resolution regarding invoice cloud biller order form. Mr. O'Rourke?
Madam Chair, before we move on,
This is 8.
Yes,
Here's Terry's back. So Terry did not vote in that last one.
okay.
Yeah.
Terry, you didn't vote on the motion. We just did motion 41.
No, you'll be fine.
Would you like to please? Favor. You're in favor, so it passes 9-0. Thank you, Mr. Maurer. On to B, Mr. O'Rourke?
I move for the adoption of the following resolution. Resolution number 21-42, resolve that Kenneth M. Kellogg, the first selectman of the town of Monroe, is authorized to execute and deliver on behalf of the town of Monroe the biller order form and any associated documents by and between Invoice Cloud, Inc. for online payment transactions.
Okay, second? Anybody wish to second this?
Jonathan Formicella, second.
Formicella seconded. Discussion, Mr. Kellogg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as I kind of outlined in the cover memo, we have an existing relationship with Invoice Cloud. This was done back in 2018 to provide for online payments, electronic payments for the tax collector's office. As you also know, we have an outstanding project to implement online permitting functionality through a regional MetroCog grant. That effort was somewhat delayed during the pandemic, but we've been steadily moving forward. And I want to thank Mr. Holsworth, who has been assisting in this project in the context of trying to get the ability to service our businesses in a more expeditious and business-friendly way. So as we look to move forward with a soft launch of trade permits, we want to be able to start having the option to pay application and permit fees online. So the research has concluded that that Invoice Cloud is well suited to handle these transactions, relationship with them, and they are able to interface with the online permitting software. All they require is this biller order form. You will note that in executing that form, it ratifies all the existing agreements that we already have with them. And although there was a prior council resolution authorizing those original contracts, in conversations with the town attorney and an abundance of caution, since those original resolutions really were in the context of, and specific to the tax collector's fees, we thought we would be best to bring it before the council and get your a revised resolution to expand it here. So with that, ask that this move forward and we get this process moving along.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Kellogg? None? Okay, we're voting on Resolution 21-42. All in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and Ms. Zagler. So this resolution passes 9-0. Thank you. C, acceptance of the following donations that individually exceed $1,500. $1,500 from Barbara and Sam Massac for Project Warmth. Mr. O'Rourke,
Oh, let's see, where did I put that?
right into new business on the bottom.
D?
C.
D, okay. Hang on a second.
You go. I have it. Sure, I have it. Here.
I move that we accept the following donations. Project Warm, $1,500 from Sam Massac.
Okay, do I
Jason
hear a
Mauer,
second? Okay, Ms. Mauer seconded. Discussion? Mr. Kellogg, any discussion?
Nothing other than obviously our thanks to the Massac family. Has always been very extremely generous to the town of Monroe. So we appreciate their support.
Okay, thank you. Going on to D, Resolution
Madam Chair, we
21.
need to vote.
Oh, we have to, sorry.
Just
All in
have to
favor?
vote.
I
Aye.
Aye.
don't think anyone's turning down. Okay, this passes 9-0. Thank you. Going to new business, Resolution 21-39 regarding a municipal fees revenue account. Mr. O'Rourke?
I move for the adoption of the following resolution, Resolution 21-39 regarding the municipal fees revenue account.
Okay, do we hear a second to this motion?
Jonathan Formicella, second.
Okay, discussion, Mr. Kellogg?
Well, Madam Chair, first, the original resolutions were included on the agenda and incorporated into the consent calendar in their entirety. Given that they are now an item of new business, I would ask that motion be entertained to waive the full reading of the resolution and to incorporate the entire body of the resolution into the minutes, because otherwise it has not been read into the record.
Of course.
So moved.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of Resolution 2139.
Thank you,
Second.
Mrs. Okay, We have a motion by Mr. Formicella, seconded by Mr. Mauer. Going on to discussion, I don't think we're having any. So we're voting on this resolution. All in favor?
The waiving.
You're voting on the,
Then we don't have to do that.
Any other-
Okay, thank you. So I'm going on to resolution 21-40, correct?
we're back.
No, Madam Chair, we need to vote on the waiving of the reading,
Okay,
and we need to vote on the resolution
Okay.
after that.
so we're voting on waiving of the reading of resolution 21-39. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that goes 9-0. And now we're voting on the resolution, Mr. Forkemp.
So discussion on the resolution, as I mentioned, the cover memo, we are looking to establish 2 new bank accounts relative to the acceptance of more credit debit and online ACH transactions. And as you know, the banks always require these resolutions for the establishment of accounts, and anytime we change signature cards, it is a form resolution that we've done several times in the past, and these are both this one and the following item that you'll take up are related to just establishing those new accounts so we can isolate that transaction activity.
Okay. Any discussion on this other than Mr. Kellogg? Otherwise, we're voting on waiving of the reading. All in favor?
The motion.
A motion.
The motion to waive, the motion 2140, but we're waiving the reading of the
So
motion.
this is,
Okay,
we're voting on
Voted on
2130.
that,
Yeah, this is just the actual
the resolution.
normal motion.
okay. So we've had a second by Mr. Formicella. We've done discussion. So we're voting on this motion. Okay, everyone?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. It passes 9-0. I believe that, any public participation?
Madam Chair,
we need to do
2140.
2140.
one more,
2140.
2140.
Okay,
No worries, no worries.
that's okay.
I move for the following, I move for the adoption of the following resolution number 21-40 regarding an online permit fees revenue account.
I hear a second for that motion?
Tyler Formicella, second. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of resolution 21-40.
Jason Mauer, second.
Okay, discussion? I think we've had enough discussion, so we're voting on this motion now. All in favor?
The waiving of the reading.
Aye.
Reading.
Aye.
Okay, it passes
Aye.
9-0. Any public participation?
Madam Chair, we need to vote on the
Just have to vote on the motion.
21-40.
Okay, so we're voting on the motion. All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Second public participation? Okay, so I'm adjourning this meeting at 8:38 PM. The next is April 26th. Thank you.